Corporations recognize that e-learning needs to be part of their overall learning strategy. But what does it take to create effective, engaging, and educational e-learning? And does it really work? Tom, let's start with the basics. What is e-learning and how is it currently being used?
E-learning's been around for quite a while, maybe 25 years or more, but it's essentially the use of technology to develop and deliver interactive learning programs, training programs. These days, that's mostly over the internet. There's also been some changes recently in technology and some developments in technology. We're all aware of social learning, the internet, and that's allowing e-learning to be used for management training, soft skills, customer service types of skills. But typically, it's used for large audiences, compliance training, regulatory training, and application training.
Liz, what advantages did e-learning offer compared to other approaches you considered when assessing your training options?
Well, the project we were working on was helping our staff and students, and there are about 650 of these a year, get an introduction to our electronic recording system, so how to document online. And the number of people that have to learn that efficiently, absolutely, the advantages of e-learning were tremendous because the resources used otherwise are just enormous. The other thing is consistency, so we know exactly what each learner is getting, and using a blended model allowed us to adapt for the diversity of learners.
And Paul, what were your experiences?
Clearly, cost and flexibility were areas that were addressed by organization use of e-learning approach. Using this format just last year, Workforce Development was able to train several hundreds of staff from across the entire province of Alberta with pretty much ease. We were able to also track attendance, and above all, through positive evaluations, we were able to provide a quality training experience for staff.
Paul, can you tell me a little bit about the program you were implementing?
Currently, we're delivering a suicide intervention skills training program to approximately 2,000 staff across Alberta in Human Services Ministry. This training is done as a refresher to those who have completed the classroom portion, and approximately 2 to 3 years after they complete the classroom portion, they complete the online e-learning suicide intervention skills training.
Despite many organizations' successful use of e-learning, some companies are still resistant to the idea. Why do you think that is?
Great question. I think it's helpful for organizations to do their due diligence before deciding to use an e-learning approach. A popular misconception is that it's cost prohibitive. Interesting that after some analysis in our organization, we found that the cost of using e-learning was far less than the cost of bringing together hundreds of staff from across the province for training. We've also been impressed with the quality of experience and skill development our staff are learning through effective design and case scenarios that are built right into the format.
Great. Liz, what do you have to add?
Well, I'd add a couple of things. Everything Paul said is absolutely accurate. Change is challenging, and there's always a challenge in turning the Titanic in terms of going from face-to-face to e-learning. But the other thing I'd add is there's a lot of subpar e-learning out there, and we've all been exposed to it. And it's been e-learning that's been developed without really looking at educational learning principles. Good stuff is good stuff, but it takes a while to get there.
Tom, what would you say to HR leaders that have some of those concerns?
Well, Paul and Liz hit on the two main concerns that we come up against, and that's effectiveness or quality and cost. There's good e-learning and there's bad e-learning, the same as there's good classroom training and bad classroom training. And the answer is not in the technology, it's in the design. So if you design a good program, a good e-learning program, it will work for you in terms of quality and effectiveness. On the cost side of things, it's true, if you've got about 100 people or so, maybe a little bit, maybe 100 to 200 people, the cost that you incur up front is typically more than classroom training, but over time, those costs quickly go down and it becomes much less expensive than classroom training. So in the end, if you pay attention to a good cost analysis up front and make sure you've got a good instructional design approach that you're bringing to the program, you'll end up with a program that is cost effective and meets the needs of your audience and will do the job.
Learn more about e-learning strategy and development with the Global Knowledge webinar, When E-Learning Fails, 5 Classic Mistakes and How to Avoid Them.